This man hits like a freight train and isn't going away anytime soon, so it's best you learn his name. AlexSandro Pereira, commonly known as Alex Pereira, is a former professional kickboxer turned MMA pro. Alex Pereira is currently signed with the UFC in the middleweight division, where he recently became the UFC Middleweight champion. Pereira had an outstanding record in his kickboxing career when he pivoted to the MMA world, where he has been pretty successful thus far in his short career. He also has a single professional boxing bout on his record, which means he touched not one, not two, but 3 combat sports in his life and is by default a certified badass. In this video, the Athlete Academy presents you with the life story of Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira was born on July 7, 1987 in São Bernardo do Campo, São Paulo, Brazil. His family is native to remote areas where tribal life is still functional. Pereira grew up in a favela and, like most fighters, had a rough childhood. He dropped out of school at the young age of 12 and worked in a tire shop to earn a living. Tough times do indeed create tough men. In an interview with the MMA Hour, he said, "I had a bit of a rough and difficult life. I started working in a tire shop when I was 12, so my childhood was cut off early because I had to work, so I didn't watch many cartoons, movies, or series." Pereira then added, "Sometimes you'll ask me something, and I won't know how to answer, and I'll just say I didn't watch it. Some people will say I'm an arrogant person, but my childhood was different. Most of my childhood was busy with work and trying to help provide for my family." Pereira began drinking after being deeply affected by his life situation and collective peer pressure, and ultimately became an alcoholic. He started to train in kickboxing in 2009 to overcome his addiction, and I gotta speak on behalf of all of us. Due to his decision, Alex Pereira has become the 9th wonder of the world for combat sports. Alex is a member of the Pataxo tribe in Brazil. He has come to be known as Alex Poatan Pereira. Poatan means hands of stone in Alex Pereira's indigenous language, Tupi-Guarani, which is a very fitting nickname considering the pure brutality of his left hook that has become a staple of his arsenal and weaponry. Alex Pereira has a fantastic kickboxing record of 33-7. 21 of those victories were from knockouts. During his time at Glory Kickboxing, he was also a multi-divisional champion, holding titles at both the light heavyweight and middleweight divisions. Kickstarting his career at the Brazilian kickboxing promotion Jungle Fight, he worked his first kickboxing bout in March of 2012 on Jungle Fight 37. In his debut kickboxing match, Pereira earned a victory against Clee Silva by a unanimous decision. Alex was riding high up until his 5th fight, where he had his first taste of failure. Pereira suffered his first loss at the hands and feet of Jason Williness when Williness secured a TKO in the 2nd round of the fight. Israel Adesanya wasn't always known as the last stylebender. Back when he was training vigorously in China, he was known as the Black Dragon, a name gifted to him by his Chinese fighting family. The bad blood between the Black Dragon and Poatan goes all the way back to the year 2016. The two faced off at the Glory of Heroes event in China, where Pereira won the match by unanimous decision. Izzy believed he had won the fight as he had landed more strikes, and you could observe a face of shock on Pereira when his hand is raised at the conclusion of the fight. The following year, in 2017, Alex left no doubt in anyone's minds who won the rematch between himself and Izzy. Pereira knocked out Adesanya with his infamous left hook. Pereira earned his first middleweight title at Glory Kickboxing by defeating Canadian kickboxer Simon Marcus at Glory 46 China. Alex Pereira would hold the Glory middleweight title for more than 3 years in his career and successfully defend it 5 times before his tenure with Glory was over. Being the absolute savage that he is, Alex wanted to taste more blood, so he opted to move to the light heavyweight division to face more competition. Glory management respected his decision and gave him a title fight right away in his debut for the new weight class. Alex continued his victory run in this division and earned a win against then-champion Artem Vakitov by a split decision. Pereira won the light heavyweight title at Glory 77 Rotterdam and became the first Glory fighter to hold 2 titles simultaneously. He held the light heavyweight title for 8 months before losing it to Artem in a rematch at Glory 78 Rotterdam. After this, Pereira decided to leave kickboxing and fully inserted himself into the world of mixed martial arts. At this point, one would assume Alex Pereira made the jump directly from kickboxing to MMA, but the truth is, this guy is built different. He had 3 MMA bouts in 2015 through 2016. His first match was his sole loss on his career via rear naked choke. He had signed a contract to face Diego Henrique da Silva in the Brazilian edition of Dana White's Contender Series on August 10th, 2018. Unfortunately, Glory Kickboxing didn't want to share their golden boy, and due to contractual obligations, Pereira was barred from taking part in this amazing opportunity. After losing his match to Artem and no longer being owned by any promotion, Alex signed with Legacy Fighting Alliance, where he debuted against Thomas Powell, and in typical Poatan fashion, knocked his ass out in the first round. Pereira made his UFC debut at UFC 268 on November 6th, 2021 against Andreas Michailidis. He won the bout by a technical knockout in the second round. This performance was so flashy that the UFC gave him the Performance of the Night award. Alex Pereira's second fight was scheduled at UFC Fight Night 203, where he defeated Bruno Silva via unanimous decision. Alex Pereira is treated as a particular case in the UFC because of his long and successful career in kickboxing. Other athletes do not get fast-tracked with high-profile and top 10 ranked opponents in the first year of their careers, but Pereira was lucky and was able to secure matches against top competitors in the middleweight division early in his career. Alex Pereira stated in an interview, "Everything I got was to get to this point right here. It was fast, and at the same time, it was not. Because it's been 14 years that I'm in this game. Everything I conquered in kickboxing and everything else was to work on my goal to get here today." The story of his success continued with the third victory of his UFC career when he defeated Sean Strickland at UFC 276. Strickland was ranked number 4, and Pereira was able to knock him out in the opening round and won his second Performance of the Night bonus, as well as earning the Crypto.com Fan Bonus of the Night award. The two rivals would meet again. Alex Pereira was now title contender due to then UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya having defended his title against every opponent in the top 5 rankings except Sean Strickland. But Strickland had lost the bout against Pereira, which made the Brazilian an automatic choice for the title. Dana White and the UFC also knew the animosity and history between these two fighters from their kickboxing days and wanted to exploit that side of the story to make for a more enticing and dramatic storyline to go along with this title fight. So the UFC scheduled them for the main event at UFC 281 in the famous sports venue, Madison Square Garden. Izzy was the favorite coming into this fight. The only advantage that Pereira had coming into this fight were his 2 victories during their kickboxing days, but it certainly gave him a mental edge over the last style bender. Israel Adesanya had won rounds 1, 3, and 4, and really just needed to keep a solid defense and coast during the final round to secure a win and maintain his middleweight title. But, as we all know, fortune favors the brave. Pereira decided to throw everything at Izzy during the 5th and final round. One can only imagine what that hellfire of fists must feel like, and considering Izzy couldn't keep his eyes straight, it's safe to say his brain swelled up to some degree after taking that beating. Alex Pereira had done it. Via means of TKO, Alex Pereira was the new middleweight champion of the world, and the guy to finally dethrone the last style bender, who had held that spot since October of 2019. Alex is the only man to defeat Izzy in the middleweight division, as his other professional loss comes from his attempt to transition to the light heavyweight division. The next likely opponent for Pereira is Izzy, because let's be honest, who isn't hyped for a rematch between these two for the title? Really, anyone else in the top 5 would be an intriguing matchup, as we haven't had a chance to see Alex fight more well-rounded fighters with different styles. One thing's for sure, Pereira absolutely has to increase his fight IQ when it comes to being pressured on the ground. The 3rd round of his main event bout with Izzy showed that all you have to do to dominate and gas him out is hold his wrists, as he didn't seem to realize he needed to break that hold first before trying to get back to his feet. It's little cracks in his technique like this that may cost him in his fights in the future unless they are corrected. Either way, fight fans like you and me will be sitting at the edge of our seats, waiting to see what the future holds for this incredible fighter. This is the Athlete Academy. Thanks for watching.